Here's something most people get completely wrong about aging. They think it's something that happens to them. They wake up one day, slower, weaker, foggier, and assume that's just the deal. But what if the single most powerful anti-aging intervention in your control isn't a supplement, isn't a biohack, and doesn't cost $1? What if it's what you do in the first 90 minutes of your day? Today, we're breaking down 5 evidence-based morning habits backed by peer-reviewed research published between 2021 and 2025 that are directly linked to aging stronger, preserving muscle, protecting your brain, and even reducing depression risk as you get older. No bro science, no supplement pitches, just the data and exactly what to do with it. Let's get into it. Habit number 1. Morning exercise plus breakfast, the anti-aging stack. Here's the logic gap I want to start with. Most people know exercise is good for them. Most people also know breakfast matters. But almost nobody knows what happens when you combine both, measured against something called phenotypic age. Phenotypic age isn't your birthday. It's a biological clock calculated from blood biomarkers that tells researchers how fast your body is actually aging at the cellular level. A 2024 study published in Nutrients by Wu and colleagues looked at exactly this. They found that regular physical activity was strongly associated with a lower phenotypic age, meaning people who exercised regularly were biologically younger than their chronological age suggested. But here's where it gets interesting. The effect was amplified when exercise was combined with habitual breakfast consumption. The synergy matters. One without the other is suboptimal. And the inverse? People who were inactive and skipped breakfast? The relationship with aging markers became far less clear, and not in a good way. The mechanism. Exercise increases mitochondrial biogenesis, essentially building more cellular power plants. It also regulates IGF-1, a key anabolic hormone tied to muscle maintenance and longevity signaling. When you fuel that system with breakfast, you're not just recovering, you're compounding the biological benefit. Habit number 2. Front-load your protein. Most people eat their biggest meal at dinner. The science says that's exactly backwards, at least when it comes to muscle preservation. A 2021 study published in Frontiers in Nutrition by Kim and colleagues tested what happened when older adults supplemented protein at breakfast versus lunch or dinner. The result was clear. Protein at breakfast produced significantly greater improvements in skeletal muscle mass and hand grip strength. Why does timing matter? After overnight fasting, your muscles are in a catabolic or breakdown state. Protein at breakfast delivers amino acids precisely when muscle protein synthesis is most responsive. You're catching the anabolic window at its widest. Dinner protein, on the other hand, arrives when your body is already shifting toward rest and repair. The muscle-building signal is weaker. This isn't about eating more protein. It's about eating it smarter. Habit number 3. Breakfast and your brain. We've covered muscle. Now let's talk about the organ most people forget to train for longevity: the brain. A 2025 study published in the Journal of Nutrition, Health, and Aging by Song and colleagues followed Chinese adults aged 55 and above and found that habitual breakfast consumption was positively associated with better cognitive function. Critically, and this is the nuance, diet quality partially mediated this relationship, meaning it's not just that you eat breakfast, it's what you eat. A breakfast of ultra-processed carbohydrates is not the same signal as a protein and micronutrient-rich meal. The mechanism. Glucose availability in the morning directly supports hippocampal function, the brain region central to memory and learning. Skipping breakfast creates a fuel deficit during peak cognitive hours. Over years and decades, chronic morning brain undernutrition may compound into measurable cognitive decline. Think of breakfast as your brain's morning dose of operating capital. Habit number 4. Wake up earlier. Easy. Almost self-aware. Acknowledging this sounds simple. This one might feel like the least exciting habit on the list, but it is a surprising one. A 2025 study published in BMC Public Health by Hosseini and colleagues, drawing from a large Kurdish cohort study in Iran, used path analysis to examine what factors mediate the relationship between age and depression. One of the findings? Waking up earlier in the morning was associated with reduced depression risk as people age. This matters for longevity more than people realize. Chronic depression is not just a mental health issue, it's a biological accelerant. It's linked to elevated cortisol, systemic inflammation, poorer cardiovascular outcomes, and faster cognitive decline. The mechanism: earlier wake times align your circadian rhythm with natural light exposure, which supports serotonin production during the day and melatonin conversion at night. It's a cascading hormonal benefit, and it starts the moment you decide what time your alarm goes off. Now, is this causal? The researchers used observational methodology. We can't say with certainty that waking up earlier causes lower depression risk, but the association is significant, and the biological rationale is solid. Habit number 5. Protect your sleep to protect your muscle. The final habit isn't something you do during your morning. It's something you do before it. A 2025 cross-sectional study published in Metabolic Syndrome and Related Disorders by Masuda and colleagues looked at what lifestyle factors were associated with skeletal muscle mass in middle-aged men. The conclusion was striking in its specificity. The combination of habitual exercise, early meal times, and sleep duration of more than 6 hours was positively associated with maintaining skeletal muscle mass. Sleep below 6 hours, even if you exercise and eat early, appears to blunt the anabolic benefit. The mechanism? Deep sleep is when growth hormone pulses are at their highest. This is when muscle repair and synthesis peak. Cut that window short, and you're essentially leaving your recovery on the table, regardless of how well you train. Your morning starts the night before. That's not motivational fluff. That's biology. The protocol. Here's what this actually looks like as a daily practice. This isn't perfection. This is the minimum effective dose. If you want to integrate steps like this into your daily routine, consider subscribing. We break down the science of longevity every week so you can build a measurably healthier lifestyle. Step 1. Set a consistent wake time. Target before 7 a.m. if possible. The research points to earlier wake times as protective against depression risk. Pick a time you can hold 7 days a week, not just weekdays. Step 2. Move within the first hour. You don't need a 2-hour gym session. The research from Wu and colleagues supports habitual physical activity, consistency over intensity. A 20 to 30-minute brisk walk, resistance training session, or structured movement counts. The key word is regular. Step 3. Eat breakfast before 8 a.m. The Masuda 2025 study specifically flags early meal times as part of the muscle protective equation. Don't skip it. Don't delay it. Step 4. Front-load 25 to 40 grams of protein at breakfast. Based on the Kim et al. 2021 findings, this is where protein timing earns its reputation. A tofu scramble, pan-fried tempeh on toasted sourdough bread with avocado, a bowl of oats with nuts and seeds, or a quality protein shake, the source matters less than the timing and the dose. Step 5. Guard your sleep like it's a training variable, because it is. More than 6 hours is the threshold in the Masuda data. Prioritize sleep onset time, reduce screen exposure before bed, and treat your sleep window with the same seriousness you'd give a workout. 5 habits. 0 supplements required. 0 equipment barriers for most of them. This is a protocol anyone can start tomorrow. Here's what I want to leave you with. The research we covered today isn't about living forever. It's not about biohacking your way to some theoretical peak. It's about something far more personal. It's about whether you're strong at 60, whether you're sharp at 70, whether you're present, genuinely, physically present, for the people and experiences that matter most to you in the second half of your life. Muscle doesn't disappear overnight. Cognitive decline doesn't happen in a week. These are slow, compounding processes, built or broken in the ordinary moments of ordinary mornings. The Stoics had a phrase, amor fati, love your fate. But I'd add a layer to that for our purposes. Choose your fate. Because the data is clear that your morning habits are writing your biological future, one day at a time. Marcus Aurelius woke before sunrise and journaled. He didn't have a PubMed account, but he understood something the research is now confirming. How you start your day shapes who you become. You now know what the science says, the 5 habits, the mechanisms, the protocol. The only question left is a simple one. What time is your alarm set for tomorrow?